Hey, going? Yeah, not bad, mate. Very, very good. All right, well, welcome. We're going to have a quick chat about the round just been in the footy. So, rough one for tips. I'm going to say off the bat, I am struggling in the tips, but you know what? So be it. It happens. There's a few upsets, some teams separated from the pack. We're going to get straight into it with the first game of the round, which was Suns versus the Hawks. Now, I picked the Hawks on this one. I continue to not trust the Suns, and it continues to bite me in the arse. I tell you what, they're actually pretty good. It's usually around this time each year that they decide, nah, you know what? We were just playing funny buggers the entire time, and we are shit, and we're going to start playing shit. But not anymore. They got a midfield you can trust. They have an absolute powerhouse in the midfield. Matty Rao and Noah Anderson, Tuke Miller, the likes of all of them. They're just playing out of their skin right now. And, hell, the Hawks put it on them, and they stood up to it in front of a massive crowd of 12,500 nearly down at TO. Apparently that's just their fortress now. I don't think they've lost there, which is crazy. But yeah, it was quite a good game. I mean, as I said, they got out to a cracking lead at the start. I think they were up by 5 goals at one point, 32 points, the highest margin. And then Hawks just continued to come, as they do. Just when you thought the Suns were going to really put them away, you got some absolute wizardry from the man in the pointy hat, Mr. Nick Watson. He's continuing to impress, as he will. Also, hats off to Ben Long, the former Saint. Big man up in his hometown there. He had a ripper performance, 4 goals. He just works so hard, and he's finally getting the fruits of his labours. So, wicked specky, by the way. I mean, him and Jed Walter, they both had wicked marks, but I'll give the chockies to Ben King on that one because that just looks sick. I mean, he was back-to-back with Sicily for a bit there. And speaking of Sicily, he copped 2 speckies on him, and I'll tell you what, he looks like he's harbouring an injury. I don't know what it is, but you're not getting what you expect from the Hawks skipper right now. So the bye round couldn't come around quick enough for some blokes, I'll tell you what. But Hawks need to wait till round 15 to get there, so fair way off. Maybe he needs a rest somewhere in there. But looking at their schedule, hell, she's pretty tough. I mean, you got the Lions, you got the Pies, you got the Dogs, you got the Crows, and then you bye. So they got 4 tough games. If they can split those 2 and 2, they're looking pretty good, all right? Anywho's, moving on. Swans and the Blues, Friday night footy. I'll be honest with you, I don't give a shit about either of these teams, and I didn't watch the game. But the Blues do, as they do, get out to a nice lead, and then decide to stop playing. You got to wonder what's up with that. I mean, is it their fitness? Is it the coaching? What needs to change? Because something ain't right. They continue to blow leads. It looks like a mental block at this point. Mentally soft, I don't know. But, Swans handled their business. Off the back of their gun midfielders, once again, Heaney was best on. He could have had 7 for the game. He kicked 2 goal 5 in the end. But, not many points from this one. I don't see either team making finals, but I mean, you just don't know. Like, Sydney have the list, yes, but they got a lot of injuries. They're just struggling with it. Their field kicking, man, has just turned to absolute rubbish this year, so I don't understand what's going on there. Maybe Dean Cox has just handed over his ruckman ways and taught them how to not kick a footy, so you just never know what's going on there. But Paul Franger got concussed in this one. There was a bit more scrutiny on the umpires about that. Just seems to be a hot topic right now, but I don't know. I think they handled it pretty well. The ball was cleared away from him, and then about a minute and a half later, it came back in the area. Behind was kicked, and they stopped the play. Got him off the field. Obviously a hot topic just with Lockie Schultz and all that bullshit going on last week. So, Jordan Boyd also got concussed for the Blues. Jack Silvani, who got subbed on for Boyd, poor fella, he got, what did he cop? He got a high bump, didn't get concussed though, and then Hamling got fined for striking him, and then after that he hurts his groin, he comes off anyway. So in the trenches is Jack Silvani. But yep, Sydney get the chockies, and we move on. Now we go to the first game of the Super Saturday, Pies and the Crows. Good game. always seems to be between these two. It always keeps it close. Pies just separated themselves with their polish. Simple as that. I mean, Crows, no excuses here. They really should have won this game. Going into it, you got Darcy Moore out. I will admit the wet weather helped the Pies in the end. Both teams made the right call of subbing off a big man. Mason Cox and Tex getting pulled off there in the third quarter, I believe it was. And Tex, you got to love it. He's a team player. He took it very well. God, you almost want him to just spit the dummy, don't you? I bet he would have earlier in his career, but mature bloke. It did hurt them. If it was a clean game without Darcy Moore, those three bigs could have wreaked havoc, but not to be. I mean, hats off to Jeremy Howe. He had a ripper of a game. Kept Tex quiet, and then when Big Fog was starting to get cooking, he moved to him as well. Just kept intercepting all day. Did his thing. Oh, Jeremy Howe. How does he do it? But yeah, bad kicking, bad footy. I mean, Crows, they had so many chances, and they just fucked them up. I mean, Rankin, he had 2 in a row there. They just sprays out in the fall. That's something you can't be doing when you're getting paid that much. Like, for fuck me. What do you do? Just kick the goal, mate. Jesus Christ, get out of your head. And then Rochelle does the same thing. A bit down the track. He at least managed a point, but they've got all these misses, and then bang. Pies go down the other end. Brody Mychek marks, 50 out, tight angle, and slots it. That's pretty well all she wrote, you know? It hurts. Bad kicking, bad footy. Got to kick your goals. Got to convert. And that's where the Pies just showed their polish. They're a class above. They got such a complete team, and I mean, how can they not be premiership favourites at this point? So, look, a good game. Always is between those two. Don't know why, but I'll tune in every time they're playing. No injuries here and no reports from what I know. So, nice, clean game of footy ball. We move on. All right, so now next up we got Port and the Cats. This game, pretty lackluster, I must say. I mean, Port, Jason Horne-Francis went out very early on with a string. Ended up being 4 hamstrings in this game, 2 to each side. You got Danger and Bose going out for the Cats, and along with Horne-Francis, you got, Jones going out with another string. Not to mention Josh Sin went out even before that with a hip injury, so dropping like flies they were in this one. Boys were in the trenches. But hell, Cats just put them to the sword. Absolutely took the piss out of them. Jezza Cameron kicked 5 goals in the last quarter. Like, that's wicked. Good shit, man. Good shit. Love to see it. Love to see Big Jezza flying. I mean, he's just one of the best in our game when he's going. So, look, not much to take out of this game except how Port, they're going to struggle for a bit, I think. They gave away all their fucking draft picks for what? I haven't seen the coaches all year. What's he injured? I think he's injured. I don't even give a shit, though. Cats are looking pretty good. All right, they're in good form. They're well structured. They got Jack Henry back. He's just huge for them in the back line. So, that's that. Danger, you hope he's not out too long. Another soft tissue injury because he's so damaging up forward, has been all year. But big game next week. Cats and Dogs. Looking forward to that one. Anywho, we move on. We've got Giants and Dockers. Freo. Yeah, look, I didn't watch this game either, but I was pretty surprised. I tipped the Giants. I was pretty surprised to see that Freo just did him in. Giants, I guess, I don't know. I kept holding out hope that they were just having a rough couple of weeks and they're going to pull it together. But, Christ, I don't know. They've just lost their identity, eh? They are struggling. They can't move the footy. Freo just absolutely smothered them. And Luke Jackson, geez, he's got to be the best ruckman in the comp, right? I mean, there's a lot of good ruckman right now. Max Gawn still holding down the fort, I guess, really. But hell, the future's bright for that young lad. He's just another midfielder, but he's fucking nearly 7 foot, and he moves like LeBron James. He's an absolute freak, so very happy if you're a Dockers fan with him. But yeah, time for the Dockers just to put some games together, get some consistency. You know, they can't just have these one and dones. It was a great win on the road. You know, always tough for them flying out of Perth and going wherever they need to be going. But look, if they can put a couple in a row, they're a team that you might think about slotting into that final spot. You know, the top eight's pretty set. But if anyone's going to come out, it's going to be the Giants, and Freo's going to go in. I mean, I'll just have a look at the ladder now. Yeah, they're sitting one under each other, you know. And Giants have only got them on percentage, but I'd expect that to change unless the Giants change. So, and I want them to change, honestly. Giants last couple of years, when they're on, have been probably my favourite team to watch. And last year it felt like they were the best team and just didn't play like it. And I mean, hell, it just almost felt like that again, but at what point are they the best team and just not playing like it, or are they just not the best team? So right now, they're just not a top 8 team. It's as simple as that. Toby McMullen did his adductor in this one, not sure on the severity. And Sam Switkowski got fined for tripping. Anywho's, is what it is. Well done, Freo. And we move on. On to the Dons and the Dogs. This was an absolute rinsing. Holy shit. Dogs prove again where they are, right up the top with the best of them. And Dons just aren't there yet. I mean, they just got outclassed everywhere. Everywhere on the field. You had Bailey Dale racket up nearly 50 touches. Who was it? Bailey Williams, who didn't give him his 50th. I bet he copped it for that in the showers afterwards. But then, yeah, the Dons, they're just inexperienced, and it showed. Like, hell, it really showed. Dogs are classy. You got Ed Richards, who's having a brilliant year in the midfield this year. Bont just did his thing as he does all around the joint. Tim English is in some ripper form now. And it was just a pantsing. Not much more to say. Very excited for Dogs and Cats next week. Dons, who are they playing? I'm not even sure. I'll have a quick look at it right now. They're a team, you know. Oh, they're playing the Tigers. Yeah, of course. Dreamtime of the G. You'll pick them to win that. Because, look, at least what you get with the Dons is you get effort. It might not have seemed like it was there today, but they try. They do try hard. They show up every week. They just got fucked up. It happens. It bloody happens. Believe me, I'm a Saints fan. It fucking happens. Anywho's, not much more to say about that one. We will continue. Oh, one more note. Well done to Ballydale and John Noble for being, I believe, the 13th and 14th players of all time to record 1,000+ metres gained. And, you know, that stat can be a bit funny, obviously. Sometimes you get blokes who just bang it on the boot and they'll get like 600 metres gained a game, but for fuck all. Doesn't mean anything if you're just turning it over. But that's two blokes who are absolute class users. So if they're getting that many metres gained, they're being really damaging. So well done to them. North versus the Tigs. Well, a lot closer than it should have been. If you're a North fan, you're not fucking happy, are you? I mean, at least you got to win. Got to sing the song. Not many joining in the chorus, though. Crikey. Like, how do you not put the Tigs away? I mean, credit to the Tigs. Like, they play with heart. They showed up. I think the crowd was about 35,000. Actually, no, it was about 50,000 or something. I don't know how they get that many fans. Who's showing up to these games? You know, that's twice as many as you see at any Saints game, but good on them. The kids are starting to play well. They seem to have a system, and they're playing to it, so well done for that. They fought very hard, valiant effort, but the Roos got it done as they should have. Hell, if you're a North fan, you really wanted to win that by a bit more than 2 fucking points, but is what it is. You get the points. No injuries in this one. Don't believe. No reports. Boring game. Well, not boring, I'll be honest. I watched this. I didn't watch the Sydney Carlton game. I was more excited by this one. At least with these games where they're both a little shit. You know, it might be scrappy, but they're going to go for it. So it was fun. You had Ralph Smith kicking one of the goals of the year. That was pretty sick. But yeah, let's move on. D's and the Lions. Hallelujah, D's fans. They've finally played like you think they should, right? Well, bloody hell. Will they have consistency? I mean, Christ. But, yeah, credit to them. I mean, they were down and it looked like it was over. 14 points, the difference at three-quarter time. I think 4 goals was probably the biggest margin. But it was just one of those ones where you're watching it and you're like, okay, yeah, good on the D's. It's a hard-fought game. They've done a good job. This will be a decent loss. Is that big boff in the background? But yeah, fourth quarter comes and they just put the foot on the gas. It's almost like Brisbane had that same thought. It's like, oh yeah, good on them. They've tried really hard. Go on. Time to roll it over. Right? Why don't you just lie down, you know? But they would not lie down. Wouldn't want a bar of it. Cozzy Pickett had a ripper. 2 goal for another bloke who could have had a bag this week, but did not. Max Gawn is he the GOAT ruckman? I think he's the GOAT ruckman, right? He's fucking unreal. And Big O pulled out at the start of the game with some soreness. Maxi Gawn would have been licking his lips after that. Darcy Fort, credit to him, he's a warrior, but you're not gonna match up with the beard. So he had an awesome game. Late in the game, he was just marking everything. And D's could have put him away by 5 goals, honestly. I'm surprised they didn't. They missed a lot of chances late. I think they kicked 8 points in the last quarter. But yeah, credit to them. The question is this the start of their turnaround? Are they going to make a season of it from here? Because it's another one of those teams sitting outside the 8, like the Swans, like the Dockers. You're like, shit, man, start of the year, I had them bloody in there, perhaps. Maybe not as much for the Ds, but definitely the Swans and Dockers. But hell, they got the personnel, so why not? Put it together, you know? Couple of wins on the track. I mean, who have they even got coming? Next week, they're versing... who are they versing? Sydney. There you go. That's a big game. 2 teams that are both trying to get the season back on track. Ds and Swans. And I'm probably picking the Ds at the MCG, so wouldn't trust me. My tips are fucking terrible, but we'll see what happens with that one. No injuries in this game. As I mentioned, Big O didn't play, just due to soreness, but he'll be back. Not too worried about the Lions. Look, they're a team you can trust. They're going to be around at the end of the year, and I think they're going to play their best footy when it matters. But well done to the Ds, and we move on. Saints and Eagles. Oh, we are. So, yeah, I'm a Saints fan. It's getting increasingly difficult to be a Saints fan. But, look, you got to do what you got to do. You know, Eagles have been trying so hard for a win. Someone had to give it to them. Someone had to be the bigger man and just roll over and give them one, all right? So we threw the dog a bone. Is what it is. But no, honestly, look, Eagles played with some dare. They played with heart as well. They showed courage. They fucking went at it, and I think they surprised the Saints. They put them on the back foot early, and Saints were rattled. They did not fucking show up at all. They were terrible. They were missing kicks. Anytime it was a live ball, they would just handball into the Eagles. They were in fucking all sorts. It was pretty pathetic. But look, credit to the Eagles. You know, they had a big one. We didn't tag Harley Reid. Saints didn't tag Harley Reid, and he ran amok. This is probably the first time I've seen him properly take over a game. I mean, I would have had him best on. I think they gave it to that man Hoff, who I'll chat about in a sec. But Harley Reid had a wicked specky at one point on his co-captain Oscar Allen, who in the replay you see he's looking around like, fuck me, who did that? And then he sees it was old mate Harley and gives him a wry smile. But kicked a couple of big goals as well. And every time it looked like Saints was starting to click, and it's like, oh, okay, here they come. Now they might actually get on top. Eagles would just find another way to get a goal and keep the run going. I think they won every quarter in the end. So, look, as a Saints fan, it feels pretty shit to not even win a quarter against West Coast Eagles, but it happens. I think Liam Duggan had a great game as well. Hats off to him. Hoff played really well, but two rat acts in a row from this fella. Two cowardly acts on the big man Ron Marshall, who I feel bad for Ron Marshall because he's an absolute gun, but he doesn't have a good midfield around him. Just is what it is. Yeah. He's about to get up. He's on his knees. Hoff comes in, dumps him back on the ground. Then Ron Marshall gets up, gets in his face, and he walks away. Ron Marshall turns around, turns his back to him, and then he bumps him in the back again. Like, two cowardly acts. It was pretty funny to watch, but Andre regrets it. Anywho's. Look, rough one for the Saints. Well done to the Eagles. They get it done for Adam Selwood. Well, that's a wrap. That's round 10 done. As we look at the ladder, as I say, top 8 is pretty set. I mean, you got teams like Geelong and Crows sitting at 7th and 6th, and they're not moving. They're not going anywhere. Only up, if anything. Giants might drop out. Dockers might get in. Swans might get in. You just don't know what's happening. But yeah, big ups to the Cats, the Dogs, the D's and the Suns. And big yikes for the Saints, the Giants and Port. As I say, it's getting increasingly harder to be a Saints fan, but we hang in there. We hang in there. Last thing to mention, which I did briefly mention, is the passing of Adam Selwood. That shit just fucking hurts, man, after Troy earlier in the year. Look, thoughts and prayers are with that family. Hoping they can get through this, grow stronger from it, but look, you just hate to hear that shit, don't you? It's fucking awful, so make sure, look, anyone out there, if you're struggling, you got to chat to someone. All right? There are people that love you around, and the love will prevail. You just got to let it. But that's it from me. My thoughts for the round. If anyone gives a shit, doesn't matter if you don't. I'm putting it out there. So, Uru bludgers, and I'll probably be back tomorrow. Ta-ta.